Alright, moving on into Basement 1. We are on Big Boss mode, so once we get out of the elevator, skip for a cutscene, skip for a codec, and walk this line. Not very much to do. The next room though, we have to be more careful. There's a cutscene that we need to skip, so we mash circle, and there's a codec call. And after the codec call, we need to move right immediately, or else a guard that walks down there will see us. So we hold right, then skip it, and then just walk over to the right. As you can see, the guard spots us, but doesn't alert yet. He's just investigating, which is key here. This is only for the first time. We come back a second time, then the guard will be further away. But this is really key for this room. We have to walk right immediately. Just walk to the corner, walk up, and then out of that door. Next room, we have once again another codec we can skip. And for any percent, we don't necessarily need the chaff, depending on how well the first floor went. For Big Boss, we 100% want to grab these chaffs here, because we want to, of course, avoid taking alerts and damage from guards attacking us. So we grab this chaff here. If we have it, cool, we can just walk away. If we don't have any chaffs because we used all 4 up in the first floor, we need to equip them again here. Walk to the door. Once the door opens, use the chaff because you're standing still anyway, and then walk on through. Once again, this camera here is a turret that also shoots you, and it's also an instant alert. Let's go through this for one more time in full motion. As you can see here, skipping the codec, going down, going up. I have the chaff already equipped because I have not used up the other ones yet. So just walk through and go through this door. Next up is the bathroom. The bathroom, we don't go up as usual because there's guards in our way. We're just going to go through the vents and crawl that way. So another reason why we do this exactly, because it's also way easier for us. As you can see here in this full motion, the trick is not to go too close to the wall to accidentally lean against them. And the trick with the toilet is that we go slightly to the left of it before we press circle. Circle. Because those guys going down here, so we want to go roughly around this line. Before that, move on over to the right, and then we can just bypass that here. There we go, one more time, going to the right here. And then we want to approach the toilet basically from the left half. If we do that, we will crouch down and go prone, and we'll be already diagonal, which is great here because we don't need to turn. The problem is with crawling in vents, and that because our mobile is, you can only walk one direction, so we cannot go forward and go slightly to the right. We always have to mix a little bit with tapping to the right. If we already start diagonal, that makes us way faster than if we are fully in front of the toilet and go directional and go directly forward into the vent. And there, press circle. I'm pressing nothing until the camera changes. Once the camera changes, I can press up again. If we hold also forward while we are going prone the animation, the input will be dropped and we have to press forward again. So it's also important to know. Once again, in this room here, a little bit of tactics. We will actually skip a cutscene, skip a codec, walk up this line, and the guard will investigate once again. It will not see us, will not alert. This only really works on first entering the room. In 80%, we would go up here and grab the ration, then walk left, and then walk up through the room. As you can see here, we're resetting, and resume has the advantage that entering rooms does not happen anymore on a resumed level. And then the guard sees us here actually. On phone, it's even more ridiculous how often the guard sees us versus he doesn't see us. I think on emulator, based on my experience with speedrunning the game, the guard does not see us as much on the emulator versus the phone. If it happens that he sees you, just try to move quickly to the left to not get shot. Use a chaff as quickly as possible. That is why we need to grab more chaffs than maybe necessary. Because if there's a failure, you can still continue the run. And you once again saw us here. So, yeah. There's a little bit of a while before actually the alert comes in. So you have time to react. If you see that the guard is calling in an alert, use a chaff and keep walking off the room. The second guard in the bathroom here, the sleeping room, will just not see you in time. As you see, just walk further through that hallway into the first door to the right. And now in the next room, we have another cutscene that we need to skip, and we'll be in a different direction this time. Now we need to skip the codec, and we will use for the first time the camouflage system. So use the item here, walk up to this tile, switch up to the camouflage and press circle. That way we also go immediately into first person. We want to cover that red color, so we change the color red. That animation when we change color can also be skipped with circle, which is key here. And after that, we immediately want to equip the chaff to have it ready. We go into this room, a cutscene plays, then we skip once again, we walk up like this. Now, of course, because I took more time, the guard's already in a different position here, so we need to redo that room very quickly. I'm gonna do it one more time. This takes a little bit of practice probably, but it's also not too difficult to get correctly. So we walk up here to this upper tile, camouflage, grab the red color roughly, double skip, equip the chaff, move on, skip another cutscene, walk up this line specifically. You don't want to go from the south because the guard will always see you. If you walk higher, basically north of this guard, he will see you but first will investigate. And that way you can get away before the guard can actually call in the alert, saving you the use of a chaff. As you can see here, the guard didn't call in the alert right away. You're going to see this again once we do a full playthrough of the entire floor. Alright, next room. We want to get spotted first, move left, the guard will move up, and then we use the chaff, he cannot call in the alert. If you do it differently and use the chaff right away and then walk down, the guard will instantly shoot you, slow you down, and also take health away from you. And depending on how the run goes, you might have already damage taken, as we can see in this example. So you want to avoid taking damage there. Get spotted first, the guard turns around, use the chaff, and then leave the room. There's another chaff pack that you can get right there. And that should be all that you need for the duration of this run. 3 packs of chaffs, 12 in total. Now, for the next few rooms, just follow as I do here. Walk the path. We're ignoring the armory currently because we don't have the right level to access the items in there. And down in the security control room, we're gonna get captured. It's very simple. Walk down to the left again. Walk here. We want to interact with the terminal first. You can approach it with a little bit further south. That works in the same way. You don't want to walk up too far or you're wasting time. There's a codec. They will shut us down now and close us in. Another codec, and now we open the camouflage and get the color of the wall. That's the trick how we get out here. In any percent, we would go underneath the table. There's a ration there that we need. That would be our second ration of the run. And basically the rest now for the entire floor is the same. We have one more interference here. Once again, codec cords and interference that are inside of codec cords are not part of the IGT. So don't worry about doing that perfect on the first try. You will eventually get through this part the first time always, just with enough practice. Now we're going to wait a little bit for the guard to come in. Not see us because we already have the camouflage at 100%. And once the guard comes in, doesn't see us, he will come in into the cell, open the door, and that's our cue to literally walk out. So let's see how that goes. There we go. So you can see here's the guard. And unlike an MGS1 where we hide underneath the bed, that doesn't work. We need the camouflage to fully work. So we need to, screen the wall, wait against the wall here. And now, as you can see, guard doesn't see us. It's like, what the hell happened? And there we go. Comes in, opens the door, and now we can just literally walk past him. Don't worry, he will start calling in the alert, but the HQ cannot respond quickly enough. Just walk like this and you're good to go. Sometimes he walks to the right first, as we've seen here, and doesn't even call in the alert right away. But even if he does, you have all the time in the world to get out of this room. Walk south here, approach the door from the bottom half, skip the codec call, and then take the elevator up. And that's B1 first time. Let's see it again in full motion, and then I'll compare it with the 80% run. Alright, let's do one full run of this basement 1 in the big boss category as it would be in a real speedrun. So we skip the codec, skip the cutscene, and walk the line. In the next room, we skip a cutscene, we skip a codec, and again make sure that you move right the first frame possible. Since IGT doesn't matter, open the codec first, hold right, and then skip with X. That way you will always move right, first frame possible, and the guard cannot see you. Walk up to the right and then up, and leave through the door. For Big Boss, specifically, we 100% want to take this chaff package here that we need. And we can move on. In theory, it's possible to save more time by going more risky and dealing with lower health at the end of the game, but especially if you're just beginning, keeping as much health as possible in this category is really key. Through the bathroom we go here. As you've seen, I didn't take quite the right line, so this happens when you go there. You lean against the wall. Approach the toilet from the left half, so we enter it diagonally. And as soon as the camera moves forward, that's when we press the D-pad up again. Because remember, the input gets dropped. We will see now here, first try, go up this line, walk all the way to the top, and that way we move through this room without the guard noticing us and without getting an alert. This way we can also approach this entire floor damageless. Once again, this hallway doesn't matter. Walk right, first door, get in. The next segment again is a little bit more tricky. We have to change our color to red, grab the chaff, move out without getting an alert. But we can make this, at least on the emulator, 100% consistent, and on the phone it usually is also consistent. Make sure to skip all the cutscenes as early as possible and walk exactly this line. Now in this instance, sadly we got scenes, so we had to use a chaff, but this is why we have extra chaffs. As I've shown you in the previous tutorial, it is possible to go through this room without getting shot and without getting an alert. Temporary storage, we go in, again, let yourself be seen first, the guard will walk away calling in the alert. We use that time to use the chaff, so we cannot do that. And that way we're not getting any damage. If it works ideally, you don't need this chaff, but usually you are required, just like we did in the previous room, we needed an extra chaff, so we're gonna grab an extra pack as well. It is possible to finish a Big Boss speedrun with only 8 chaffs and grabbing 2 packages. But again, this is when you do everything correctly, and it's very unlikely at times just because you would take slightly a false line. Speaking of line, just walk as we do here. These rooms are not very interesting. It is key that before we go to the armory, we don't have an alert, because if there was an alert in the armory and we go to the room that is the armory, there will be a guard standing there and shooting us. So for any % runs, you want to do the same thing. But we're going to take a any % look right after this one. Now we're getting captured and we do the same thing. Open the codec, skip the cutscenes. Then take the color off the wall, like this. There we go, we don't need to wait for the animation to play out. Lean against the wall and just wait here. There will be another codec here. Once again, it's not part of the IGT, so it doesn't matter. You can just wait. Go through the interference. And there we go. There will be one more codec call. And then the guard will walk in. There we go. Now the guard will come in. There we go, there's the guard. And there's certainly nothing we can do as far as we know to speed up this process. It will take as long as it will take. Another codec call, the guard will see us. He will storm into the room, and that's our cue to leave. Make sure to be as close as possible to the wall, and the guard cannot activate the alert quickly enough. You can just walk out of this room without any problems. If you're unsure, just use a chaff right after you go out of the door, so the guard doesn't shoot you. There you go. Like, there's more than enough time to go out the door before the alert actually counts. Elevator access, just walk down here. Try to approach the door to the right at the bottom half, not the top half. There we go, another codec, and then just take the elevator up, and that's B1 first time in Big Boss. Let's take a look at any %, which is slightly different. Alright, let's go through basement 1, but this time the any % route, which is, once again, very, very similar to Big Boss with only slight differences. Once again, we come in here, we skip the codec, we skip the cutscene. This room we skip the cutscene, skip the codec, walk right immediately. It does matter if you have an alert here or not. And also, if you walk first frame, you save exactly that frame. In the next room, it is optional if you want to take that chaff. You can do any percent with just having used 4 chaffs. For beginners, I would recommend maybe picking it up to have 8, a little bit of wiggle room. But since you can use rations, it will be fine. Moving on through the restrooms, exactly the same as with Big Boss. Walk to the right, go in here, approach a toilet from the left half, and you go in diagonally. You could maybe rewind and see that I did a slight swivel where I went down first and then right before I hit the wall, just as a security measure so I don't lean against that wall. Come in, skip the codec, skip the cutscene. Once again, walk up here. It does matter if he sees you or not. It does not matter. Grab the ration here. That's a slight difference because we want to use that ration later for a cool speedrun trick. And then we move on. Central corridor. Just go out here. And there we go. If you had an alert in the previous room, there will be guards on the left of that corridor, but they won't see you. And since there's a cutscene here, the alert will actually be reset. Once again, just like with Big Boss, we go in here, change our color to red, grab the chaffs, go up here, skip the cutscenes as early as possible, and keep on moving. Here now we will finally see this room done perfectly without the guard alerting. If you get an alert here actually for any percent, that would be cool, because the next room the guards will be automatically out of the way and we don't need to use a chaff. But if we do it like this, like in Big Boss, then we need to be spotted once again here, then use a chaff, move on, and get out of this room. Because this is any percent, we usually don't pick up a third pack. If you grab a pack, it usually is faster to grab it after the mess hall. And now the rest is exactly the same as the Big Boss, so I'm not going to continue here, bore you. If you saw, the Big Boss route is exactly the same with any percent how we escape, so I'm going to skip this, and I'll see you in the next video where we're actually going to depart. The next floor, first floor, second visit, is totally different between any percent and Big Boss, so there will be 2 videos.